everybody. This is Mr. T. Mitchell, and this is the Great Sports Debate, Harris and Boggs. Let's debate this mother! John Harris. The Celtics and the Spurs are two of the oldest teams in the NBA. Which one will decline first?
Spurs. No doubt of that. Celtics got Kevin Garnett. He's still top of this game. Paul Pierce. You got the young talent. You got Fab Melo coming in. Jared Solinger. Brandon Jason Terry, who's better than Ray Allen, by the way. Also, right, Courtney Lee, good defender on the perimeter. Rajon Rondo, best point guard in the game. Spurs got nothing for him.
What I think you're failing to realize is that the Celtics are so young. You're talking about this young talent that they have coming in. That's not going to develop into anything next year. We're talking about next year. Those rookies aren't going to do anything for them. Kevin Garnett he might as well be in a chair by this point. Paul Pierce is slow as dog shit. They're gonna deteriorate awfully, and I think it's gonna happen next year.
Paul Pierce has always been slow as dog shit. Doesn't matter. It's his game. He's fast,
Agreed.
sloppy,
Agreed.
pushing people around, rolling around in a wheelchair. Garnett's better than Duncan at this point. Duncan's declining way faster than Garnett. Ginobili's losing more of his hair every day.
Well, he is doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a French guy guiding the team in the finals. Playing as their best player, not going to happen. They have no young talent coming off the bench.
Well, like we spoke about earlier, the Spurs, they tend to keep that core around them, which has worked for them in the past, but those guys are not so young anymore. But my thing is, you've got Kevin Garnett without Ray Allen. You've got Paul Pierce without Ray Allen now.
Jason Terry replaced that.
Doing what?
Shooting jumpers and playing bad defense. The same thing Ray Allen did.
Shooting jumpers?
What did Ray Allen do? He shot jumpers.
You act like he's Reggie fucking Miller.
He's pretty damn good. Most shots LeBron in the finals, didn't he?
Here we go again. He has too many tattoos to have a good jumper.
He has a bad headband and a bad tattoo, but he's still a good player. He's better than Ray Allen at this point. You know he is. You also got Jeff Green coming back from a heart attack or whatever happened to him. He's been a good player off the bench, play good defense, score some points. The Spurs have younger players, but not good players.
How in the fucking hell are you trying to sit here and tell me that Jason Terry right now is better than Ray Allen? What? Ray Allen does one thing. One thing. He shoots three-pointers, and he's the leading three-pointer. I can't fucking... I'm drunk. I'm sorry. He has the best... He has more three-pointers in the history of the NBA than anybody. And you're trying to tell me that this wild... older Russell Westbrook is going to come in and make them better.
He had more NBA three-pointers than anybody else. He also had those all 6-7 years ago. He's the guy. He shot terrible in the playoffs last year. Jason Terry was great in the finals 2 years ago. He played good in the playoffs this year. He can do the same thing Ray Allen can do, except better. He'll be a much better
He can't shoot like Ray Allen.
He can make the threes just as well as Ray Allen. Look at the percentages. They have more depth, more talent. Fab Melo's going to be a great low-post defender. Replace the corpse of Cabano.
And he's what, 19 years old?
So what? You need young players
That's not going to make a difference next year.
You need young players from off the bench, and limited minutes will make a big difference.
I agree that the Spurs are older. For some reason, they hang on to the same people forever. But they're going to be, I don't know, man. Boston, they don't have Ray Allen anymore. Kevin Garnett slowed down. Paul Pierce has always been slow as dog shit.
Garnett was great in the playoffs.
In what measure?
He put up good numbers. Had your Heat down with 3-2 there for a moment, didn't you?
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah, LeBron bailed him out, but still, an old Celtics team that close to beating the NBA champions, and adding more pieces.
What always happens with these older guys, like Kevin Garnett, for instance, that 1 year they have these great numbers, and then the next year. 1 year they're great, the next year they can't do shit. And I think Garnett's on that. He's right there on that fence.
He'll conservative Spurs. He don't have great regular season numbers. Comes crunch time, he'll put up big numbers.
You know, if I may interject in here, fellas, you know it's known that the Spurs and the Celtics, they have two of the best coaches in the NBA, period, in Doc Rivers and Greg Popovich.
Agreed.
Do you not think that, which one of those coaches do you think is better fit to lead a new age Spurs or Celtics team to the playoffs and success?
Doc Rivers, he's the best coach in the NBA. He'll be the next Olympic coach. Popovich had the same core of guys that Duncan to rely on since 97, 98, whenever Duncan came in the league. Doc Rivers has made more with less.
Doc Rivers is the best coach in the NBA right now, hands down. Popovich, I give him all the respect, but he, like he said, he's had Duncan and he had Robinson for a few years. He's had a crutch to lean on. That's coming to an end.
I think Rondo's a big difference maker. He's one of the best point guards in the league, if not the best. Distributes the ball, great defense. Once he that shot's getting better.
Do you think Rondo would be as effective if he didn't play for the Celtics? Let's say he played for the Suns in 2007. Replace him with Steve Nash. What do you think would happen?
I think he's been close. He's not as good as Nash was in his prime yet, but he's not into his prime yet either. He'd hold his own on that team. He can distribute the ball just as well. He plays better defense than Nash ever thought about playing.
I think Rajon Rondo is the best point guard in the NBA right now.
Better than Derrick Williams?
Yes, and somebody you're forgetting Derrick Rose, and I'll still say yes.
Bad mustache.
Yeah, horrible mustache. He looks like shit with that mustache. I think people give Derrick Rose too much credit. He's a scoring point guard, which it's never panned out.
I mean, no, it does, but it's a new age of point guards. There are all kinds of new point guards are taking over the league. There's 7, 8 guys who are just top echelon point guards right now. I mean, Rose carried his Bulls team deep in the playoffs 2 years ago with no offensive talent. I don't consider Luol Deng from Great Britain, where he claims to be from.
Watch him out.
He's not good. Boozer's washed up. You know, he has to spray paint his hair on now.
Watch your mouth. Once again. Okay, back to the subject. So you think the Spurs are going to deteriorate before the Celtics?
Celtics will be a contender for the title this year. Spurs won't be.
Oh my God, what a bold statement. They're going to be a contender for the title?
I mean, of course, they'll be the Heat's biggest competition.
The Celtics?
In the East, yeah.
More than the Bulls?
I think so. Because the Rose may bounce back from that ACL injury. Celtics
He'll
will
be
be coming.
fine. He'll be fine.
You never know. And they don't have a lot of scoring around him. I mean, I don't consider Richard Hamilton a threat anymore.
No, absolutely
They
not.
lost C.J. Watson. They lost Omar, funny name, plays backup center. Pale legs.
All right, fellas, if I may interject here, if you look at last season, the Celtics, they struggled in the regular season and then actually did pretty well in the playoffs until they met the Heat. But the Spurs, they did well. You know, they almost broke the record for the most playoff straight wins for a season. If they had, got past the Thunder, then they possibly could have broke that record. That brings me to my point that the Spurs do have some young talent coming up that has already played in big games and played in the playoffs this year and this season, like Kawhi Leonard, their starting small forward, as well as Danny Green. They came in and did some good things. Whereas the Celtics, they have new rookies in Fab Melo and Jared Sullinger that aren't really tested in the NBA yet. They're kind of unknown. So don't you think that would kind of give the edge to the Celtics and Greg Popovich to be a better team here in the future?
Well, it comes down to, the basic question is who's going to deteriorate first? And yes, the Spurs are old, but they've been old for years, and somehow they continue to make the playoffs, even though the Thunder beat the shit out of them after they looked like they were invincible. However, the Celtics, they lost Ray Allen. Kevin Garnett's really old by this point. Paul Pierce is really old by this point. I think the Celtics are going to be a joke next year.
Their top players, Garnett's better than Duncan. Pierce is better than Ginobili. Rondo's better than Tony Parker. They're going to be adding veterans or good players, Jeff Green, Courtney Lee.
Tony Parker's a better scorer than Rondo.
Rondo doesn't have to score. If he was on that team, he probably could score more.
Well, that's why I asked that question. Do you think if you interjected him into a different team in a different year, different lineup,
I think he's never going to be better.
Would he still have the same things going on?
I think definitely. He's a good enough player to overcome that.
I won't disagree. I was asking it for debate purposes, but I can't disagree with that.
One thing that you fellas did not mention, which is a main thing that goes with age, is injury. How do you think that these two teams player by player will stack up as far as injuries and prior injuries and future injuries that they could get, during playing the NBA season.
I mean, injuries are always going to be a factor, of course. I mean, Tim Duncan's an Iron Man. He plays every night when he's healthy. But
Right.
Ginobili gets hurt every single year. He's flopping around, flailing around, all his stupid moves he does. He breaks a wrist or something stupid every year.
It's a factor no matter what your age is. Injury is a factor. But I know what you're saying. I think Paul Pierce, he's left the court in a fucking wheelchair before. He's very susceptible to injury. Do I think that was realistic? No. Absolutely not. But I think at the age that KG and Paul Pierce are getting to, they're definitely susceptible to injury. And I don't see them being a factor next year. I don't.
And they got the same team coming back, plus some more additions. Have young talent, to work with, and Jared Soldier that scored a lot of points. Great low post player. Fab Melo, good low post defender. Things they were needing last year.
They're kids though. You can't.
They're good talent though. They'll be fine. Jeff Green's make a huge difference. Get off Jimmy Q. Jeff Green's make a huge difference. He's a great player. He's gonna get you 15, 7, come off the bench. He's a big factor. I mean, as long as his heart's okay, which I'm sure he'll be fine.
He'll have another heart attack. He'll pass.
More heart attacks.
He'll pass.
No.
All right. Sounds like a good stopping point for this. As question is, who is getting older quicker, the Spurs or the Celtics for the next NBA season? This is a great sports debate. Harris and Boggs.